Hey guys, got a multi-tool review for you today, and it's on this Victorinox Swisstool Spirit X. This is the X model. There are several models to look at if you're interested in this tool. I am outside today for the review, so sorry for any background noise. I can't really help that. It's just kind of how it goes. But I thought it'd be nice to bring it outside. And this is, I'm going to try to make an in-depth review, so intended for somebody thinking about maybe purchasing this, but also try to keep it short. I understand time's at a premium. So I've been carrying this tool for about the last 8 or 9 months, and I found that it's very good. It is in my everyday carry loadout. And I think most people probably won't put it in their everyday carry system, mostly because it is a full-size multi-tool. It weighs 7.4 ounces, which is, I think a lot more than most people are willing to take. Maybe they say they will, and maybe they'll carry it for a month or two, but after, the cool factor, the initial purchase wears off and everything like that, I think they'll probably start leaving it at home. And it's taken a lot of willpower to continue to carry this, but I've kind of gotten used to it. Good options if you don't want a full size would be stuff like the Leatherman Squirt, or more. This is kind of a small one, or maybe also looking at more kind of mid-sized tools. So I think a lot of people will put it more into kind of hiking, climbing, camping, hunting, outdoors type activities. And it would work very well for there, except that, again, it's 7.4 ounces, so, if you can take that weight, then it'd be a good tool. People might also, contractors or carpenters, people, doing more home construction type stuff, may also look at this tool. Fishing, I mean, it can go into a ton of different categories. So your first tool on this side, and what I do like about this is that all the tools are on the outside except for your pliers, and this is a traditional style tool where it folds out, just like the original Leatherman. It's the alternate to that would be something like this Gerber tool where it slides out. I prefer this design because I think you get a lot more tools in there. This one, most of this tool is taken up by the pliers. Only this portion right here is tools. This one, all of it's tools. So I like this a lot better. I use my pliers, but it's not my #1 tool. So, another tool that I looked at long and hard before I bought this one was the Leatherman Wave and Charge. I was very close to buying one of those, and I still may eventually. But one thing I liked about this over that one is that all the tools are on the outside. Those ones have the 4 tools on the side, the 2 blades, the saw, and the file, but everything else is on the inside. So I like this a little better for that. So on this side, you have your file. It's a decent file, not the best in the world. I think the Leatherman is better because it has the diamond-coated side, and I definitely prefer that. But this one does work. Has teeth on the bottom for sawing through stuff, and works well. Now the way your lock works on here is with these side poles right here, and you have individual springs for each tool. This is really kind of the Cadillac of multi-tools. It really is. It's high polish. That high polish also serves in preventing rust, but high polish, individual springs, and a very positive snick to each one. Very smooth, just really nice. So a decent file. Then next up, you have your can opener, standard Victorinox style can opener. Great, works very well, and you also have a small driver up there. Next you have your Phillips head. Now I like the long shank on here because it really gives you a lot of reach. The Leatherman Wave, I love that it has a bit driver. I think that's a great idea. It opens up a whole lot of possibilities, but it's very short and stubby. I think you can buy an extension for it maybe, but then that's another piece to keep track of. So, you know, these are all individual set drivers, but they have long reach and they work very well. And this, I found that this Phillips driver does fit a very wide range of screw heads. So that's been really good. It's worked very well. And also, I haven't found that high polish on there has caused it to slip out of the screw heads. Works good. Next up is just a small flathead. And finally, on this side, you have your scissors. Now this is, you know, kind of one of the more controversial tools on here, I think. They got away from the traditional scissors, like on a Swiss Army knife. They didn't go with these scissors. And the benefit to this style is that this one has this spring right here. And with a lot of use, this spring can break. I don't think it's that big of an issue because you can always replace the spring. But, you know, I think that's one of the problems they were trying to fix by going with this style. The problem with these is that the mouth doesn't open wide enough. I mean, look at the difference there. Huge. So, you know, to be honest, I haven't found any jobs where this hasn't functioned. It's always done the job it needs to, and I love having scissors with me because, you know, sometimes they're just safer and more convenient than a knife. So I definitely like having scissors with me. And these work fine, but I wish they had gone with these. Because, I mean, also look at the size difference. I mean, imagining... Sorry, I got a truck in the background. Imagine trying to open a package or something. I mean, the difference, you're going to get a much bigger bite out of it with these. But these will work. Just for, you know, fun, I'll compare the Leatherman scissors. This is the Leatherman Blast, and these have the same scissors as the Wave. Now notice, with the Blast you got to open the tool up to get to them. Same thing with the Wave. So you open the tool up. These are the scissors you get on your Leatherman. Honestly, if I had to choose, I'd choose the Leathermans. I think these are better scissors. However, these are from the outside. You got to open up the Leatherman. So I like that it's on the outside. Really, you know, all the tools are on the outside, just like a Swiss Army knife, right? This is basically a Swiss Army knife with pliers in the inside. Kinda. You could think about it that way. So that's all the tools on this side. On this side, you have your saw. Now, I wasn't really sure if I was going to use the saw at all when I first got this tool. You know, I didn't know. And I've found that it is useful. In 2 occasions it was especially useful. First one was I was mowing my lawn, riding lawnmower, and there was a smaller tree that was going by, and it had a small branch that had grown out, you know, small diameter, and it was going to smack me in the face as I went by. So, got off the mower, went over and trimmed it off. Clean, nice cut, easily done. And I didn't have to go get any extra tools or anything. You know, I could just do the job right then and there, fold up my saw, and keep on going. And it worked very nicely. So, you know, you could also use that in bushcraft or different trap making, even for hunting type stuff. So, it is nice if you just want a small, clean cut. I also found, I was doing some electrical work with a friend of mine, actually putting in a bathroom in a remodel, and we had to put in an outlet. And we needed to make a hole for the box in the drywall. And of course we have the tool, but it's in the shop, and so we'd have to go get it. So I just folded this out, and I was curious if it'd work, and it worked great. That's why there's all the white dust on there from the drywall. But it worked great. So, you know, you could cut drywall or whatever else with this, and it's very useful. Next on here, you have your awl. I love having an awl or a punch. Very useful tool, and this one's well designed. The only thing that I could say they could do to this to maybe improve it, which, you know, I'm not complaining about it, I do like it a lot, but if they were going to do anything to change it, maybe put in a sewing eye, like on this one. This is the Deluxe Tinker. Maybe put in a sewing eye. But other than that, it is, you know, very nice. And that's something that the Leatherman Wave doesn't have. Next, you have this very thick tool, so you could use this partly as a light prying tool. You know, it's not gonna do crazy prying tasks. It's, you know, just a small tool, but you could do some prying with that. You also have a large flathead on there, and you have a bottle opener. So, you know, well designed. And notice again, you have a lot of reach. Next, you have your chisel on here. Very nice chisel. You also have these sharpened grooves in here. Honestly, this is one of those tools that's cool and, you know, neat, but I honestly haven't found a purpose for it yet. I've used it just to test it out, and it works well, but I don't know what you'd use it for. So you could probably find a use for it, but I haven't yet. And next, you have your blade on here. This blade's just the standard Victorinox steel, like you find on all your, you know, Swiss Army knives. And I think most people are pretty familiar with it. It's a good steel, very corrosion resistant. In fact, this whole tool is made of it. Very corrosion resistant steel. It's a little bit softer, so it's not going to hold the edge forever, but it's easily sharpened. And on this blade, they have your relief edge squared away. Comes very sharp, and it's easy to get sharp again. And the spine on here is actually slightly thicker than on a regular Swiss Army knife blade, which is nice. And this one locks, you know, unlike you know, a slip joint one. Another thing to look at here is that because your blade is a tool accessible from the outside, unlike on this Leatherman Blast, you look at this thing where the blade's on the inside. Excuse me. Over here. Now notice your blade's on top here. Here the blade's on the bottom. It's much easier to cut with the blade on the bottom opposed to the top. So just something to think about. So that's all your tools for the outside. You also have this attachment here for your corkscrew you can buy. It doesn't come with it, at least the model I bought doesn't. They do sell this with a kit if you want to buy it that way. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think it's an inelegant design because you can look at the pictures of it. It's basically a wrench that takes bits. So you have a bit driver separate, and then you have a corkscrew that plugs in here. And it just seems like it's getting to a lot of pieces. I'm just not the biggest fan. I just prefer the tool, and so that's what I bought, was just the tool. So on the inside here you have your pliers. They are good pliers. And down here you have your hard wire cutter. And I wish that these were replaceable, like on the Super Tool 300 by Leatherman. I think Gerber also has a tool with replaceable cutters. I think that's a great idea, and that's definitely something I'd like to see happening on more tools. Because if you bend these, you're kind of out of luck. I mean, you can always try to file them back and kind of restore them. And I actually did bend mine once. Probably not doing something I should have. I was actually trying to cut a screw in half, which was probably pretty stupid. But, you know, it's my tool. I paid for it. I wanted to see if it could do it. So, I did it, and it bent the cutters, you know, probably like you'd expect it would, with the threads cutting in. Not too bad. I filed it back. They're fine. They work well now. Not an issue anymore. But, you know, I wish they were replaceable. Now, your pliers on here, the pliers on the Blast, I believe, are the same as on the Wave. Your pliers on here, notice, it's not the finest tips on this Victorinox. I prefer these pliers. I prefer the Leathermans. These have done everything I need them to, but I just like a little bit finer tips on there. But, you know, they work well. Now, one thing I have noticed is that the flex in these, if you look at the handles back here, when I squeeze on them, notice it flexes a little. So when you're really crunching down on something, you feel it flex in here, just a little. It's not an issue, but you just feel a little bit of flex. They're not rock solid. Again, you know, it's a minute nitpicky thing, but you feel this Leatherman, and it's pretty rock solid. You don't see those handles moving at all when I press on them. Whereas here, they move a little. There's just a little spring in this tool. Just an observation, but I thought I'd let you know about it. The edges on here are well rounded, so when you are squeezing down on this hard, it doesn't hurt your hand. I think that's an issue with some tools. Definitely not on here. Also notice there's kind of this curvature to the handles a little. Makes it very, very ergonomic. Also, there is no ruler on the outside here anywhere, kind of like there is on this Leatherman, but I don't mind that too much. Now the sheath on here, it's just a typical leather sheath. I'm not the biggest fan of leather. I'd prefer nylon, but you know, it doesn't bug me too much, especially for everyday carry. Now what did bug me about this sheath, well, let's start with what I like about it. I like that it's very slim and trim. There's not a lot of extra material on here. It does look very nice. And the Velcro on here is not the strongest Velcro, but it works. It retains it. It's not an issue. Where I did find an issue is on the belt. You put a belt through here, and notice how much of the sheath is sticking up above your belt line. That's an issue because I found that clothing gets caught behind here. You know, normally you put this on your belt, you want your shirt to drape over this, you know, come over your sheath. Instead, it just gets stuck behind it, and then that's just annoying. And I really didn't like that. And I put up with it for a while, but I even got a winter coat stuck behind here. That's how bad it is. And you don't realize it until you look back and your knife sheath stick, or your multi-tool sheath sticking there with your shirt behind it. So it's annoying. So I started carrying it in this sheath. This sheath, this Gerber sheath, came with this, I think it's the Gerber Compact Sport. I think it's like a 400 series or something like that. So I put it in here. Much better. I've sewn a muli-lock on the back, so it's quick attach. So much better. And notice your belt is going to ride clear up here on this one. A lot less sticking up above the belt line. So much better with this. I'll give you a size comparison to some other stuff. This tool is going for around 75 bucks as of mid-August 2011. So I think that's pretty fair. It's going to put you right in competition with like the Leatherman Charge AL and the Leatherman Wave. And I think it can compete pretty fairly. It really just comes down to personal preference and, you know, what tools are most important to you. So there's a comparison with the Blast. The Blast is definitely a lot thicker. I'll give you a comparison with the Gerber. This Gerber is more of a mid-sized tool, at least mid-weight tool. Here is a Spyderco Delica, Spyderco Endura, Kershaw Skyline, Benchmade full-size Griptilian, Benchmade mini Griptilian, and finally, I guess not finally, Kershaw Leak. I'll have to show you a Sharpie marker. Leatherman Squirt, Phoenix LD10. So there you go. Hope that gives you a good size comparison. So I think it's a great tool. I'm very happy with mine. Hope that was helpful, guys. It did turn out to be a pretty long video. I tried. Oh well. So, see ya. Thanks for watching.